Okay, for those of you on YouTube, you haven't seen this yet. Mini Wargaming has, however, because I posted an article there. This is the first time getting around to actually posting the video on YouTube, though. If you look here, this is a whole mess of orcs. This is pretty much what comes with Assault on Blackreach. I traded mine away because I thought I wasn't playing orcs, and then fortunately, Will had some that he could trade me. So, although I don't have as much as I wish I did, I do have a start to my army. So in case you were wondering, I have decided to start orcs. It certainly wasn't an easy decision, but I did. So they just, out of the armies I was choosing from, the Tau, the Thousand Sons, and the Orks, they really are just the most fun for me. So I really, really love the storyline in that for the Thousand Sons, and I love the look of them. So I've decided to incorporate some of that into my orc army, and by some of that I mean all of that. So I've got my Death Copters, my boys, some knobs, and this is the only piece I've painted so far. It's almost completely done. And this is my orc warboss. As you notice, it looks an awfully lot like it's pretending to be a Thousand Sun. That's because it is. All the armor and cloth is painted blue on this, and all of like the armbands and wraps of cloth are painted yellow. I made this headpiece out of some plastic, a brass rod, some green stuff. These bottom pieces here is all green stuff except for these points, which if I can find it, the points are the points off of one of these pieces from a Dark Eldar jet bike. So yeah, that's my warboss. I painted the symbol of Tzeentch on here, which I think actually turned out really good with the folds in the cloth, fading from like white to blue to black on black outline. I made this entire banner here. Made it from scratch. I cut off the old one and took some plastic card. This piece at the top and bottom of the banner, the borders, those are actually the extra metal pieces that the little arms and stuff like that come in from the Zoanthrope model. The rest of it is green stuff arrows, green stuff tentacle things, green stuff eye. Basically, I don't remember the guy's name, the Primarch of the Thousand Sons, but that's what the eye represents. He was called like Marduk the Red or whatever his name was, and he had like a third Cyclops eye, so that represents that. I've got the tentacles coming out. They're green, so they're like the green tide coming out there. So pretty much I made everything in this represent something. And then I've got like a kind of a slightly starry background fading from white to blue into like a reddish color on the edges. Pretty much the blue, because of the Thousand Sons being blue, fading out into the red, which their armor used to be. Basically, the storyline for this army is that there were some orcs in the middle of a wog, and they were overzealous, and they chased down a chaos fleet into the warp. And Tzeentch attempted to possess them and turn them into chaos or demons and that, and it just didn't work because, let's face it, they're orcs. The orcs' minds are messed the crap up, and now they think that they're Thousand Sons, but they're not. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to convert some things so that I can use them as orcs or Thousand Sons. So for like these, like half of these orc boys I have now are just going to be painted with like black and that, and the other half are going to be painted with Thousand Sons, like the headdresses and that, so I can use them like Chaos Marines, the Thousand Sun Marines. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with that, especially with like the Death Dread being also usable as a defiler. I think this turned out really well too. I'd never painted an orc before, but I do own lots of greens. I just have to work a little bit of highlighting on this cloth, but a little bit of shading, maybe a black wash over it. But it's pretty much done. I think it turned out pretty good. So yeah, there you go. That's how this whole army will look. I vowed with this army to not buy anything until everything else I have is painted, so please, please, please hold me to that. I almost bought some orcs today. I've had lots of questions about how I made this and everything, so I'm just going to figure I'll throw this in the end of the video. This headdress piece here is made with green stuff, some plastic, and some brass rod. This is the plastic I used for it. As you can see, I just cut it out and I used it as a paint palette later. Not easy to cut through, so I'm going to pick up some plastic cards soon, but that's what I used. I think I said this earlier, but it's like a CD shipper. Basically a flexible plastic CD case. So here's the knob I'm working on right now. I just started it maybe an hour ago. And as you can see, I've got the red plastic piece on there. I've got a little piece of thin brass rod. And I've got some green stuff, or gray stuff up here, if it'll focus ever. Maybe, maybe not. So yeah. Just kind of use that gray stuff at the top as like a little bit of border. I paint that gold. And I just kind of did some lines in here with the X-Acto knife so I kind of know where the blue and the yellow is going to go. Kind of helps keep the paint separated. He's not going to have the pieces hanging down. That's really only for my warboss or my my weird boys that I'm going to get. So yeah, that's pretty much it. One of my 5 knobs so far. So you might see that one painted up soon.